I watched 267 films last year. About three-quarters of those were first-time watches, and about half of those were new releases. Point is, I saw pretty much everything that came out in the cinema. I'm also a huge soundtrack neek. Music is something I try to actively notice about every film that I watch, and I wouldn't be surprised if film scores accounted for about half of the music I listen to on a daily basis. That being said, here is part 1, the 10 to the 5 of my favourite scores from last year. Number 10 is Civil War from Ben Salisbury and Jeff Barrow. I've been a fan of Salisbury since he worked with Garland on Devs, the Channel 4 series. And this score is no different. The instrumentation is lovely. It's full of grungy guitars, but it's also very quiet and very contemplative. If you're a fan of the Last of Us games, the music can be quite similar. Check it out, you'd like it. My favourite track, the one I recommend from it, is called Aftermath. If you remember the film, it's when they're driving in this truck and there's these embers that are floating past the window. It's a very sad moment, but it's a very good song. Check it out. Number 9 is A Different Man from Umberto Smerilli. This score and the film, to be fair, didn't get a lot of love when they first came out. It was sort of on the niche side, but the score is lovely. I think it's the best thing about the film. It's very mysterious, very noir-esque, very sexy. There's a great clarinet part. I would just recommend the main theme. Number 8 is The Substance from Rafferty. This would be higher on my list because I think it's a pretty integral part of the DNA of that film. Within the context of the picture, it is just a wall of noise and it contributes to this sheer sensory overwhelm that is The Substance. But the reason it's not higher is for that same reason. I wouldn't listen to any of the tracks on a daily basis. But if you want a good sample of what they sound like, Blood and then More Blood is the following track, are a good indicator. Number 7 is We Live in Time from Bryce Dessner. I had to choose one of his scores to put in this list because he also did Sing Sing earlier this year, which is lovely, but I think We Live in Time ekes it out slightly. It's very sensitive. There's a great range between more energetic pieces, I recommend Bouncing Ball for that side, and more emotional, contemplative pieces. I have to recommend Ice Rink Epiphany for that one. Within the context of the film, that piece will just make you cry, objectively. And finally for this video is Dune 2, which was my favourite film last year, but a lot of the score just comes from the first one, so I had to sort of push it down the list slightly. But it is just immense and powerful and huge. I recommend The Emperor and A Time of Quiet Between the Storms. Part 2 tomorrow, hopefully.